Okay, greetings. Welcome back. I had better camera, better audio, hopefully. I realized the last video was hard to hear, so I'll try and be a bit louder. Acoustics aren't great in here anyway, but just saying it's not completely my fault, okay? I realized in the last video I had this game in frame the entire time, like 50%, like I was behind it, like I am now, and I just never bothered to explain it, and I just left it, and I didn't say anything about it. So probably kind of stupid thing to do, but I'm going to make up for it in this video because I'm going to explain it now. That's what I'm going to do right now. I should say I'm not going to show you the game this time in this episode, just because I sort of want you to get an idea of what it actually is first, how it's been constructed up to this point, the story behind it, and just sort of a more basic description of what it is, and not specific mechanics of the game and things like that. So the game is called Feudalism, and you'll see why in a minute, but I started writing the rules for it back in... do I have the rules? 1 minute. Here is here somewhere. Okay, don't have the rules. Didn't prepare at all. Where was I? Rule writing, that's right. So I started writing the rules for the Capstone project, the board game, around 1.5 years ago. So that's how old this project is. And the actual inspiration for the game came about 2 years ago. 2.5 years maybe. No, it would have been 2 years. Keep in mind when I say these dates, you should take them with a grain of salt, because I don't have the best reputation for being good with dates. Like the time kind, not. Look, I've said too much already. The point is, I chose this as my subject for the Capstone project because I started it already. So that means I get a head start on the project, A, and B, because I get a head start, it's going to feel like less of a chore. So if you're having trouble, assuming you're doing the Capstone project, if you are having trouble picking a subject, maybe just pick something you already started. I mean, you can do whatever you want, so there's really nothing anyone can do for what you pick. So just pick something you already started. Maybe it'll help you. Just a piece of advice, just throwing it out there. Anyway, back to the inspiration for the game and how exactly this game came about. Should I? You know what? I'll keep that in. Who cares? Honestly, it's been a long day. It hasn't really. It's like 3 o'clock. I'm just being dramatic. But anyway, inspiration for the game first came 2 years ago, or 2.5, depending on how my memory is working. The inspiration for the game initially came from a friend who also made a board game at my house. He did it, it was pretty spur of the moment actually. He did it within like an hour, maybe even 15 minutes, I'm not sure. Once again, bad with time, as you can see. But the point is, he made up this board game, and we played it, And it was pretty simple. It was about moving troops around, defending your territory, and conquering other people's territory. I don't know if that sounds familiar. Risk. Anyway, but yeah, you roll for attack, you roll for defense, move your troops around, deal with the other nations, you win the game. And it was the theme of the game that stuck with me. And the theme was a medieval setting, and you had to command medieval troops. And I'm not entirely sure why at the time that intrigued me, because I hadn't at that point been extremely invested into history, particularly as a subject. I am now, for sure, in whole or in part because of this project, but I at that point I didn't really have any knowledge on history, certainly not medieval history, which is a very complicated subject. But the theme was really what stood out to me in that one night game that we played one time. Well, we played it a few times, but I wanted, in that period of time before I started writing the rules for this, I wanted to create a game that was very similar to that, in that you move troops around, you conquer. It's, the simple conquest style game, risk style game. But I wanted to create it in a way where it was less of a chance element, and at the same time be historically accurate, and also not be terrifying when you look at it, just because you're scared to even learn to play it. And because some board games are like that. I don't know if you've personally seen board games, some board games that are just, they take up like 5 tables. There's this one, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's insane. It's huge. It takes like 12 hours to play. So I wanted to have something simple at the same time, and bada bing bada boom, fast forward, we come to 2019, and I come up with this, and it's called Feudalism, because feudal system, medieval times, you get it. You're not dumb. You understand. Maybe you don't. That's okay. You don't need to know what feudalism is. You can learn. You can learn by playing my game. Self-promotion. But yeah, and that's basically what it is. It's just it's a medieval game where you command your troops, you collect resources like food and money, you cooperate with other players. There's diplomacy in this game, which I can explain in another episode. And you move your troops around different units and conquer your enemy's cities and expand your territory. So it's the same conceptual idea as the board game that I played 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. Still don't know. However, the rules have changed and the way you play has changed. So that's basically, that's the gist of it. And it really, that is something interesting I've discovered with board games, is that what I've noticed with this project is that a lot of themes for board games are the same, but it's how the theme is executed and how you simulate and emulate the world. I don't know if I'm using the word emulate right. Whatever. I'm using it. So anyway, that's feudalism. Basically, and you still do dice rolls. You keep track of troops and things like that. Not very complicated once you start to actually look at the rules, which I won't do in this video. But that's it. Thank you for watching. That's the basic gist of what this game is. And yeah, thank you for watching. Can't believe I did this for fun.